We can't have a WrestleMania without a multi-man ladder match. Come on now. Chad Gable versus Bronson Reed versus The Miz versus Shinsuke Nakamura versus Ricochet to fight for the #1 contendership of the Intercontinental Championship. 5 men who've failed to win the Intercontinental Championship from Gunther are gonna compete at WrestleMania for the opportunity to face Gunther on the Raw after WrestleMania. So this whole thing starts with Bronson Reed challenging Gunther for the Intercontinental Championship at the Elimination Chamber. So the match is set. Gunther and Bronson Reed, their feud begins 2 weeks after the Royal Rumble, after Gunther won the 2024 Royal Rumble. Now at the Elimination Chamber, Gunther retains his Intercontinental Championship against Bronson Reed, as he should. And now Bronson Reed is devastated following his loss in his home place of Australia. Reed now joins the many who've lost to Gunther, and yeah. To the Raw after the Elimination Chamber, Gunther is now in the ring cutting a promo. He says that since at WrestleMania I will be fighting for the World Heavyweight Championship, I need a new challenger for my Intercontinental Championship. Therefore, 5 people who have failed to win this championship against me will compete in a fatal 5-way ladder match to earn a match with me. I've personally handpicked the 5 men, so why don't we go over them? First is Chad Gable, the only man to ever beat me in a match before on the main roster. Then Shinsuke Nakamura. I beat Shinsuke very early in this title reign, but he's been more hungry for opportunity more than ever. Then we have Ricochet, the man I beat to win this title. Then is The Miz, the 8-time Intercontinental Champion, the self-proclaimed greatest of all time. The man did give me a hard time at Survivor Series though. And the final person in the match will be Bronson Reed, the man I just beat 2 days ago. So whoever wins the match at WrestleMania will face me for the Intercontinental Championship on the Raw after WrestleMania. And that is how the promo ends. Now the match is set, and this is a big deal. Gunther has made the title so relevant and so worthy to fight for that there's literally going to be a #1 contender match on WrestleMania. That's crazy. So the next week the Academy is on Raw, and Gable, Otis, Maxie, and they're all in the ring. Now Gable starts up by saying apparently Gunther had a soft spot in his heart to put me in a fatal 5-way match for the #1 contendership of the Intercontinental Championship. Now Gunther, if you happen to remember when we had our last feud, I was closer to beating you in every single match. So one more, that's all I need. One more match, and that title's mine. And then The Miz interrupts Chad Gable. He gets into the ring, and he and Gable are face to face. He has a microphone and he says, "Look Chad, I get you want to win that title, but I'm the greatest Intercontinental Champion of all time, and I deserve to win that match more than anyone." And then comes Ricochet. He says that the only man walking out of WrestleMania with the opportunity for the Intercontinental Championship is me. See, Gunther is the same man who took away that title away from me, and I still haven't reclaimed it as mine. So at WrestleMania, then big Bronson Reed has entered the chat. Bronson Reed squares up against the challengers, and The Miz tells Reed that, "What are you doing out here? This is a ladder match." But then Reed goes face to face with The Miz and tells him, "I'm doing whatever it takes to get back to Gunther." Ricochet then says that, "Isn't there one more of us?" And then it's Shinsuke Nakamura on the Titantron. He's backstage somewhere in his usual red room, and he says that the Intercontinental Championship comes home to me. I run laps around all 4 of you. All of you are worthless and unworthy to be fighting for the Intercontinental Championship. After WrestleMania, I find myself against Gunther once again. While the 4 members of the match are in the ring, Giovanni Vinci now makes his way down to the ring, and he's alone. He says that, "I was told by the ring general to scope out what he has to deal with. Now all I see in this ring are pure failures. Every one of you are fighting for opportunity just to lose against Gunther. Every one of you are just embarrassing yourselves just by being in this match." But then Vinci gets attacked by Gable, and then The Miz, then Ricochet, and then Reed joins in. All 4 of them beat Vinci's ass, and they send him packing. And now Vinci is gone, and all four of them turn to each other, and now they all start brawling in the ring, and that's how the segment ends with a massive brawl. The next week we see a backstage segment with Imperium, and now Gunther and Giovanni Vinci are talking about what happened last week. Gunther tells Vinci that why would you let all those guys beat you up like that? Then Vinci blames it on Ludwig Kaiser. Vinci says that Kaiser wasn't there to help me. He never came to the aid of my help. And now Gunther turns to Kaiser and he says, you're gonna go one-on-one with Ricochet next week and you better win or else. And that's how the segment ends. So the next week arrives. It is time for Ludwig Kaiser versus Ricochet on Raw. The match is normal, whatever, all that. And throughout the entire match, Ludwig Kaiser is struggling, but he somehow manages to win because Giovanni Vinci helped him by cheating. So he won by cheating. So later on backstage, Ludwig Kaiser goes to Gunther looking all happy and all, but Gunther isn't happy at all. Ludwig tells Gunther that I've beaten Ricochet, like you told me to. But Gunther says, okay, and? You beat him because Vinci helped you. You would have lost if he wasn't there. Gunther now turns to Vinci and tells him that he's proud of him. And now while Gunther is telling that to Vinci, Ludwig is just there in the corner just surprised that Gunther is acting like this. So the next week, it gets announced that Giovanni Vinci vs Chad Gable is going to happen. And now Ludwig Kaiser is in Giovanni Vinci's corner tonight. Chad Gable dominates for most of the match, and now Vinci is struggling just like Kaiser was last week. Now Ludwig Kaiser realizes that Vinci is struggling, and he tries to help him. While doing so, the ref catches Ludwig cheating, and he gets distracted. And so does Vinci. So now Chad Gable uses the opportunity to land a Chaos Theory and pin Vinci for the 1, 2, 3. Chad Gable wins the match. So because of Ludwig Kaiser, Giovanni Vinci lost the match. And after the match, Shinsuke Nakamura blindsides Chad Gable and these two go at it. But then Ricochet also joins in the brawl. And then at some point Bronson Reed shows up. And finally, The Miz is the last one to show up. All five of them are in the ring, absolutely annihilating each other, all while Vinci is furious with Kaiser. Both of them go backstage upset. And now Gunther sees them and he yells at Kaiser. He says, are you doing this on purpose? Vinci was perfectly fine about to beat Chad Gable, and then you had to come in and distract him. Who do you think you are? Gunther then tells Vinci to come with him, and he leaves Kaiser behind. Gunther has become more and more furious, and Kaiser is separating more and more with Imperium. The amount of disrespect towards Kaiser is unimmeasurable. So the next week, The Miz hosts a Miz TV with everyone a part of the ladder match. He welcomes everyone to the must-see talk show in sports entertainment. And he starts off by saying, now before everyone gets here, I just have one thing to say. The Intercontinental Championship has been a big part of my career, and winning it one more time. But then The Miz gets interrupted by Bronson Reed. He cuts him off. He actually has a microphone and says, Miz, just a few weeks ago, I was this close to becoming Intercontinental Champion, and I'm not gonna let someone like you take away what should have been mine. Because let me make it clear to you, I am the biggest and baddest son of a gun in this match. So if you think it... Oh, and then Ricochet comes down to the ring. He says, Bronson Reed, are you some kind of a dumbass? You're talking about size, you're talking about being the biggest and the baddest man in the match. Buddy, let me remind you, this ain't your specialty. This isn't a 1, 2, 3, one and done match. You have to get a ladder, you have to climb up that ladder, and that's something that I do best. So once I climb up that ladder, grab the contract from the top, and book my ticket to a match with Gunther, I'll be glad to defend the Intercontinental Championship against the both of you. And then Shinsuke's music starts playing. Shinsuke wants his turn to speak. He says, all of you are wasting your time, fighting for something that you can't win. Miz, you're an 8-time champion. Reed, shouldn't you be fighting someone more of your size? And Ricochet, you're the only man that knows what it's like stepping in the ring with me. Stepping in the ring with a new version of Shinsuke Nakamura. Shh. Thank you. Now let me let all of you know, I am the only man to beat Gunther in a one-on-one match. I had 3 matches with Gunther, and every single time I found out what his weaknesses are. But most importantly, my son, who was watching me trying to win the Intercontinental Championship, was in tears after the match. So if you think I'm gonna have him go through that one more time, you gotta be absolutely kidding me right now. At WrestleMania, I'm going to put on a performance of a lifetime, and I will beat Gunther and take away that Intercontinental Championship and become the man to dethrone Gunther, even if it's the last thing I do, because I've been in the ring with every single one of you and I know what your weaknesses are. It's finally time for me to become Intercontinental Champion. The Miz is now sick of everyone just talking over him, and he says, "Can everyone shut the hell up? The 4 of you have no idea what it's like living up to the name of the greatest Intercontinental Champion of all time. And then let a man who hasn't even been on the main roster for 3 full years to take all that hard work you did for 20 plus years and take that away from you. So I have every single right to be pissed off, every right to fight for the opportunity to become 9-time champion and to stay the greatest Intercontinental Champion of all time. So I don't care whatever tricks you've got up your sleeve, because at WrestleMania in the ladder match, The Miz will not be treated like a nobody. For years I've been losing my credibility and I'm sick of it. Imagine being a multiple-time world champion, beating John Cena in the main event of WrestleMania, and cementing yourself as the greatest Intercontinental Champion of all time, just to lose all that a few years later. The Miz is absolutely fired up. He's going insane. One passionate promo from The Miz. All 5 men have their valid reasons to be in this match. And now that's how the promo ended, with The Miz going off. So now the next week is the go-home show for WrestleMania, and we see Gunther and Vinci talking in a backstage segment. But then Kaiser tries to warn Gunther and get his attention, and Kaiser overheard someone talking. And now Ludwig Kaiser is here to warn Gunther about a little priest that might try to cash in. But eventually Ludwig gets Gunther's attention, but Gunther was not listening to what Ludwig had to say. And now Gunther had enough. He screams at Kaiser and he says, "Why are you here? You're a failure. You're bringing yourself down and you're bringing everyone else in Imperium down with you. Get the hell out of here, you disgrace." And then Gunther does the unthinkable. Big beefy chop to Ludwig Kaiser on the chest, and now Gunther and Vinci looks down on Kaiser. Now Gunther tells Vinci that you don't want to end up like him. Vinci is now scared because he thinks he's next. So Vinci now follows the orders of Gunther very vividly. Later on that night, we see a bunch of backstage promos, starting off with Ricochet. He starts off by saying, "It's finally time. I've lost to Gunther many times, failing to recapture the Intercontinental Championship, and it's finally time. When I win the fatal 5-way ladder match, there is no going back. It's all uphill from here. I still got a couple of days before I can call myself the #1 contender for the Intercontinental Championship." And that's how his promo ends. Later on in the night, we see a promo from Chad Gable. He starts out by saying, "When it comes to the Intercontinental Championship, Ricochet has his reasons to go after it. But let me tell you what it feels like to live with the fact that I'm the only man to beat Gunther on the main roster, and every opportunity I got at the Intercontinental Championship, I got closer and closer and closer to calling that title mine. It was the worst feeling I ever had, and I have no plans to go through that again. So WrestleMania, that's exactly what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna win the ladder match, and I'm gonna become Intercontinental Champion." And that's how his promo ends. And then later on in the night, we see a backstage segment with Adam Pearce and Ludwig Kaiser. We don't really know what they're talking about, but it seems like Ludwig Kaiser is trying to convince Adam Pearce to be part of something. Maybe a match, whatever. I don't know. Who knows? But we still have one more backstage promo left, and that is for The Miz. He starts out by saying, I get that you haven't been in this industry as long as I have, but I know at this point people don't expect me to win anything. But this is my moment. This is where I prove everyone wrong. This is my time. I am still The Miz. I am not retired. I am not a part-timer. I show up week in and week out, and I'm always here on Monday nights. So you can call me The Miz. You can call me awesome. But one more thing you can start calling me after WrestleMania is the #1 contender for the Intercontinental Championship. And when I face Gunther on the Raw after WrestleMania, that championship is coming home to me. And here we go. It is time for WrestleMania Night 2. Chad Gable, Ricochet, Miz, Reed, all ready to throw down. This match might not seem too important, but what Gunther had done with the Intercontinental Championship, this match is one of the most anticipated matches since it's kind of a showcase match. So yeah. Now before the match starts, unexpectedly Ludwig Kaiser comes down to the ring and he makes this match a fatal 6-way. This is what Adam Pearce and Kaiser were talking about. And now Kaiser is in this match trying to get revenge at Gunther for what he did to him. All 6 men get their time to shine, showcasing why each and every single man has their own unique story and part of themselves that makes them fight for an opportunity at Gunther. This match has a lot of great wrestling, a lot of high flying, a bunch of risk takers, and of course Ricochet goes crazy, of course, you know. Bronson Reed lands a bunch of tsunamis on everyone. The Miz letting everyone know that he has massive balls, huge balls. A lot of near falls when it comes to grabbing the contract. So far this match has been absolutely insane, an all-time classic and with meaning behind it. Nakamura showcases the more aggressive side of himself, Bronson Reed obviously being the powerhouse of this match, being a huge advantage for himself. But the high flyer Ricochet just can't stop soaring through the air. Throughout the entire match, Ludwig Kaiser is actually being cheered as a babyface, absolutely dominating Bronson Reed and showing off why he can be one of the best and why he can beat Gunther to win the Intercontinental Championship. Now Kaiser has the best performance in his entire career in this match. All the fans are really behind him. All his unique offense leads to him to have the most momentum in this match. Now after a gruesome, heartfelt, emotional, intense match, while everyone is down, Ludwig Kaiser manages to climb up the ladder trying to win the contract, and Ludwig Kaiser gets a hold of the contract. He grabs the contract from the top of the ring and he becomes the #1 contender for the Intercontinental Championship. He celebrates with the crowd and receives a standing ovation after the match from the crowd. Kaiser will now face Gunther the night after WrestleMania, and this is how I would book a ladder match at WrestleMania, having some sort of stipulation and element of surprise to it. So yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed this video. The next video will be Jade Cargill vs Nia Jax. I'll explain in the video. I don't know. I still don't know why I'm doing that video. But anyways, I'll see you guys in the next one. Please get me to 8,000 subscribers. And yeah, peace out.